Good morning and welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoburiu. ICSAN is a leading recognized professional body in Nigeria dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. Today on the program, we want to look at transparency and disclosure as an important concept in corporate governance. Transparency and disclosure as an important concept in corporate governance. And our guest this morning is Mr. AYODEJI BAMGBOLA, ACIS, former secretary, ICSAN ABUJA chapter, and partner, Praxis and Gnosis, law practice and business advisory firm. Good morning, Mr. BAMGBOLA.
Good morning, madam.
All right, thank
you for having me on your show today.
Thank you for joining us on the program. With me in the studio is Mr. Kadi Ketefe, CIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketefe.
Good morning, Fumi. Good morning to you, our guest, Mr. AYODEJI BAMGBOLA, ACIS, and all our teaming listeners. Good morning to you.
All right, so we're going to take this message and we'll be right back. Just stay with us.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, so corporate governance platform right here. And as I said earlier, we're looking at transparency and disclosure as an important concept in corporate governance. Mr. BAMGBOLA. Mr. BAMGBOLA?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I am with you.
All right, great. So let's begin this way. What is transparency and disclosure?
Okay, thank you. I will like to put this as simple as possible so that it can benefit listeners. We're talking about transparency and disclosures as an important concept in corporate governance. In corporate governance, it talks about governance of corporates in terms of businesses. So what is transparency and disclosure when you are talking about businesses and the running of businesses? Particularly, I like to focus on small businesses. So transparency means that you can see through a thing. Seeing through a thing means that you, like when you wear a lens or you have a glass, once you have a type that you can see through, not the one that has tint that is covering it that prevents you from seeing through. And that is why you are required by several laws to file returns, whether with the Corporate Affairs Commission or with the Federal Inland Revenue Service, because you are doing a business and they want to see transparency. There's also that's to the regulator. There's also the transparency to your stakeholders. Your stakeholders can mean the people who are your shareholders, in layman language, we will call them who have one way or the other invested in your business or have interest in the business. They want some level of transparency in how you run the business. So that transparency will mean how you do your report of activities in the business. On the other side, transparency also nowadays is also required, especially with your workers, to a level that gives them some kind of comfort to be able to have long-term interest in working for a business. Disclosure, on the other hand, operation of a business requires a lot. It's very busy, it's hassle, it's this. It hardly gives you time for your own life. So imagine that there will also be many things that you will learn on the road. Some people call it the street, that you will learn on the street of doing business daily, in governing your business, that people from outside will not be able to understand. Now, if you don't tell them, they may not know. So the law requires that there is certain level of disclosure and to your stakeholders to make them understand what is going on, to let the different machineries of business, of corporate governance, take appropriate decisions that they need to do. So I think I will just stop that there for now with respect to the definition of transparency and disclosure as it relates with corporate governance, that is business governance.
All right, great. I want you to give instances of probably situations desiring disclosure and transparent dealings in governance.
Okay. How do I approach this in a way that I don't get too academic or disconnected from the listener? So instances or situations that desire disclosure, transparency. So one, generally the law requires that, and this is the part we call jurisprudence, which is the reason behind the requirement of the law. So for instance, financial reporting. Companies are required to disclose their financial performance, including revenue, expenses, profit, so that the government, the tax authority, can know how profitable your business is and know how they take their own part of your profits. You know, that's tax system, right? The reason for this is government also, well, in principle, in the framework, provide some kind of support to businesses. The reason why we will have what is called corporate personality is that the law helps you create a person of your business. So in exchange for creating that protection, they want some kind of tax system to be able to continue to enable your business and create some structures around the public part of it. So financial reporting helps the government take a tax from your system. So when you disclose this in your financial reports that you file with the FRS or the CAC, it helps the government. It also helps investors or stakeholders know what they are entitled to by virtue of their investments in that. So one of them is financial reporting. The other one, which may require disclosure and transparent dealings, is executive compensation. I'll give an example that that's probably presently generating a lot of noise in the public space. Although this has to do with public governance. You remember recently the news about senators complaining that they don't know the salary of their fellow senators. That is an issue of disclosure and transparency. In the similar space, in corporate governance, there's a requirement for executive compensation disclosures. So if you go to financial reports that banks and all these other companies that you may be interested in file with the Corporate Affairs Commission, you will see what is this compensation of the executive in those documents, because it's required to be disclosed. So it helps you as a stakeholder look at, especially public companies, for instance, look at their books, see how much they pay their executives, to help you decide whether it's a safe space to invest or if compensation is appropriate. If it is excessive, as a shareholder, if you want to make some agitations, you have information there. So compensation is required to be disclosed. In fact, the shareholders approve it. So another one is your corporate governance policy. So generally, companies are not meant to be run by laws, compared to the public. The public is run by laws. So park here, don't park there. If you carry somebody's thing, you become a criminal, the police will arrest. Those are laws that govern the public. But in the corporate space, they are not governed by laws. So there are different policies, there are different standards, there are different codes, which you, depending on the kind of business you do, you may adopt. But the thing here is that once you adopt one, everybody wants to know what is the policy you have adopted. So you should disclose that. So you see people asking questions like, what's your privacy policy? What is your remuneration policy? What is your vacation policy? What is your what else? Welfare policy? What's your sick leave policy? What's your accounting year policy? So those are policies that the law does not dictate, but you must adopt something. And then when you adopt it, you disclose it so that we will now be able to judge you by what you have adopted. So if you say that vacation is that you are entitled to 30 days leave, and then we now find out that in practice you are doing 45 days, we can judge you based on that. Okay, but your policy says it's 30 days. Why are you doing 45 days? Why are you doing this? That is a bit contrary to what your policy is. I think I should stop there.
Okay. All right. There are a couple of other questions that I wanted to ask, but you had answered some in passing, talking about importance of the concept of transparency and disclosure in stakeholders' relationship. But a particular part of the code on transparency provides that communicating and interacting with stakeholders keep them conversant with the activities of the company and assist them in making informed decisions. Now, I want you to expatiate on to what extent do you agree with the statement?
This is very, very big and important, and a lot of companies have failed because of their reluctance to interact with stakeholders. So some CEOs, some MD CEOs are also very arrogant. They think they know it all and never give this room for interfacing with stakeholders. Stakeholders, they are so important. They are not part of most of the time, not part of your core operation. So they are a bit disconnect. But that disconnect itself is an advantage. They ask you questions that will annoy you, but if you want to really improve, that is another room for research and development. So it is a very, very, very important key arm of governance, and that every business must take very important, no matter how much you don't like it, no matter how much you hate some of your stakeholders because of how they can be, different reasons, but it's very vital part of corporate governance. If you go into the jurisprudence of corporate governance and you understand the rationale behind stakeholder engagement, it's a big check on the operations of the company. And it is important for any company. They're going to ask you questions like an external audit about your policies, about your remunerations, about decisions taken at your general meeting that has not been implemented, about why has it not been implemented. There may be operational reasons, but they are disconnect. So they will ask you questions that will make you to question your decisions.
Right.
The growth may be difficult if you don't allow this at whatever level, whether with the staff, the staff, or with your shareholders, or with your committees. This is a very important part of corporate governance. Without it, there will be a big flaw in the corporate governance system.
All right. We must say a very big thank you to you, Mr. AYODEJI BAMGBOLA, ACIS, former Secretary ICSAN, Abuja chapter, partner, practice, agnosis, law practice, and business advisory firm. Thank you for joining us on Corporate Governance Platform this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Ketefe, I'm sure we have some announcements.
Thank you very much, Fumi. The main announcement we have today is on the forthcoming ICSAN 2024 Company Secretaries and Registrars Forum. This is to inform all ICSAN members, registrars, other professionals in governance field, and members of the public generally that the ICSAN 2024 Company Secretaries and Registrars Forum is scheduled to hold on Thursday, April 4th, 2024. The ICSAN Company Secretaries and Registrars Forum is a platform that exposes participants to contemporary practices and pertinent governance issues that are trendy in the profession. So it's a capacity boosting program for professionals in governance field, especially the company secretaries and the registrars. The theme for this year's forum is the implications of cybersecurity and artificial intelligence for capital market operators. The theme once again is the implications of cybersecurity and artificial intelligence for capital market operators. It will be held by hybrid method. So this will allow those who cannot be physically present to also participate. The venue for physical participation is BWC Hotel, Amadou Bello Way, Victoria Highland, Lagos. Time is 10 a.m. prompt. The chief host is the president and the chairman of the Governing Council of ICSAN, Mrs. Funmi Ekundayo, FCIS. The keynote speaker is the executive director, Large Enterprises Directorate, Bank of Industry, Mr. Simon Alanonu. Other speakers are the MD CEO, African Prudential PLC, Mrs. Catherine Nwosu, and the MD CEO, Frank Nominees Limited, Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS. This program will attract 5 credit points for the participants. For more information on ICSAN 2024 Company Secretaries and Registrars Forum, please call Kayode on 080-3214-7720 or Florence on 080-323-69300. Thank you for listening to us and have a pleasant day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kayode Ketef, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. And that's how we wrap it up this morning on Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I'm Funmi Omoburi. We'll return again next week, Wednesday, 10:15 a.m. Enjoy the rest of the day.